Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
I'm number one fan, Tim.
I'm going to just freeform a lot of this. I've hinted at it through multiple episodes in the past.
Okay.
Police officers are held to an almost unbelievable standard of propriety.
Would it be fair to say impossible standard?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. They can't swear. They can't say anything negative to certain people. Pretty much just putting on that uniform means they're public enemy number one to a large segment of the population.
Mm-hmm. I could agree with that.
No matter what their intention, no matter how straight-laced they are, no matter how good of a job they do, they're a cop and fuck the police.
Yes. I'm actually shocked at how many people I know that are like, oh, po-po and pigs, and it's just like, that's really? Because I didn't expect that kind of... I considered a derogatory attitude toward cops to use slang terms like that.
Well, I ran into a lot of this, obviously, as a correctional officer. Mm-hmm. You get these fucking crybaby-ass criminals that they get busted, and then they don't like people in uniform, and they will cock off at the mouth as much as they want to, and then cry like a little bitch when they get in trouble. But as soon as you give them a little bit of their own medicine back, they're all whining and pissing and moaning about he was so disrespectful to me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, that's the problem with the management that my previous workplace was under, is we were run by, not my boss, the military dick with the Forrest Gump haircut and the giant bird beak nose, the other guy with the crooked eye who used to talk to me like I couldn't see the forest for the trees. Irony. Oh, really? Was a social justice warrior and a bleeding heart liberal fucking pussy.
Well, that explains.
I seriously think that if he could cut off his dick and give it away as a means of solidarity for all other women that he's a male feminist for, he would do it. He's that much of a fucking mushhead.
Crazy.
So, like, we'd go through our standards and practices every year, and one thing would be like, sarcasm is forbidden. Oh, heaven forbid you show a little personality so that these people see you're not just a soulless dick in a uniform who's just robotically shouting out orders at them when they break the rules. And then instead of just sauntering off like a scared little bitch when they raise their voice to go write them up on a report for aggressive behavior and what have you, you fucking stand your ground and you give them a little bit back in front of everybody to emasculate them, to bring them back down to where they should be. And then from that moment on, you kill them with kindness, and it's unsettling for them because suddenly someone just showed them up but is also being supportive. And that's what I call building a rapport.
Yeah. This probably isn't the same thing, but when I have watched like the live PD stuff that you can see on YouTube and stuff, and the cops that are, it seems like all the cops are trying to have a bit of a personality and use a little bit of humor while they're on a job, even in situations that, probably humor isn't going to work that well, but, I mean, they're trying it, and it seems to calm things down a little bit at situations like domestics and all that.
It worked a lot for me. Humor was my go-to, and I was able to de-escalate a number of situations over the years that could have gone sideways. Or people that hated my guts until they realized I did have such a good sense of humor, and I was likable and personable and down to earth, and most importantly, humble, with my phrase that every one of us in this uniform right now is one bad day away from being on the other side of the desk. A lot of people went, holy shit, that's awesome when I tell them that. Right? So
Sounds fairly true.
I won people over. But still, I get these fucking cocky young dickheads that would piss and moan about all the times we'd catch them doing dirt and sneaking in contraband, but heaven forbid that they talk a bunch of shit to an officer and then somebody goes, I'm not going to put up with your bullshit. Stop acting like such a child. And somebody wanted to complain about that comment once. And I flat out told a grown man in his 40s, I'm like, dude, you were born in the 70s. Most of your roommates here right now were born in the 90s. And you're acting like you're only as mature as they are? So toughen up. Because if you can't handle a little bit of sarcasm back with your attitude and how many times you've been here, you don't deserve that sense of entitlement. So get over yourself. And I walked out and he was not happy. Fuck him.
Probably the strongest way to smack him down.
Fuck him. Stupid meth head loser. Couldn't hold a job. Fuck him.
I kind of same. But if you're in the fact that you said he was in multiple times, that to me right there, that's just a fucking loser. If you go to jail one time, I can understand. You have a bad day, you had something bad happen, you go to jail, whatever, for a day or a week or whatever. Okay, understandable. Everybody makes a mistake. To go multiple times, you're just an idiot.
Yeah, and this is a guy who had been involved in a situation years prior where the fire alarm went off because somebody pulled it. Mm-hmm. And it happened to go off during my only break of the night because we were so slammed with shit to do. I finally got my goddamn dinner break 3 hours late. So I was not happy. And then instead of going out the fire exits, they went out another door to where they could access personal property, and then a bunch of them got a hold of a pack of cigarettes and were lighting up outside. So I told them to put the cigarettes out. They didn't have permission to smoke. And then one of them blew the fucking smoke in my face. And the guy from the other story just now got upset because he heard me say to somebody else, "Congratulations, dipshit, you just earned a violation." Blowing that smoke in my face. And then my boss wanted me to apologize to these people.
No. I mean, yeah, you're one bad day from being on the other side of the desk, but you don't make your employees actually do it.
Oh, I wrote up 11 people for smoking when they shouldn't be, and he fucking washed all of those violations out just because he thought my attitude was poor. Because I said, "Congratulations, dipshit," to one guy, because he complained. He's like, "I went outside and this CO came up to me and referred to me as a dipshit for smoking." And I'm like, that's not true. I called him a dipshit when he blew the smoke in my face on purpose. I thought I was well within my realm there.
Yeah, at that point, because when you said that, I actually pictured myself punching the guy in the fucking throat, and if he was on a balcony, throwing him over it. Oh, look, he fell.
Well, let's get back to what I was originally starting with, because I haven't even stated what the episode's about yet. I've been building up to it.
Ooh, good build-up.
So police deal with these impossible standards and expectations of how they should behave, and people cannot wait to fucking narc them out.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Even if they don't deserve it. Like, there was a video of a Minneapolis PD officer who slammed a guy on the hood of a car and then kicked him because he beat his girlfriend up. I don't have a problem with that.
I didn't either. You beat on a woman, you're going to get your shit. Yeah.
But did she have it coming, though? You bitch! You have to ask yourself.
That's a really gray area.
Isn't it, though? Well, that's the thing, is what do you tell a woman with two black eyes? Nothing. You already told her twice. Dark humor. Yeah, see, callback.
I already told her.
Callback. So, people are just like, he brutalized this guy. Oh, fuck that shit. He beat up a woman who didn't deserve it.
He only got one kick. That's not brutalizing. That's a warning.
But, I mean, a cop fucking swears at somebody. Or a cop yells at somebody because it's a shitty situation. Why don't you take a second, remove yourself from what's happening now and ask yourself, does this cop have on-the-job stress that is getting insurmountable to deal with? And he's venting now? And if you realize that, do you think you could just ask him, like, I'm not trying to be an asshole or make the situation worse, but instead of saying, don't yell at me, I just want to ask you if there's anything else you're upset about, and I want you to think for just 2 seconds without getting madder at me, sir, if you're taking out anger sideways from something else. If not, continue. I won't hold it against you. But if you had a really bad day, I will understand if this situation's just the cherry on the sundae and you're about to break. And I will say, let's all take 5 seconds of silence, take a big, deep fucking breath, come back to center, and see if we can't handle this like adults sanely. Nobody talks to the cops like that, but more people should.
Well, and I was just thinking, if a cop came at me and I did something wrong, I know I did something wrong, and he yelled at me, I wouldn't argue with his position at all. Like, okay, I know I did something wrong. He's pissed off. I'm going to take my yelling. And it's probably because my dad spent a fair amount of time yelling at me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I learned, okay, I fucked up. Here comes the yelling. You know, I wouldn't narc the cop out. Well, he was yelling at me. He was disrespectful. Of course he's going to be disrespectful to me. I fucked up. I broke a law. He's pissed.
Right. So now, just like with my boss getting mad at me for saying dipshit to a guy that blew smoke in my eyes, when he could have seen, okay, well, you shouldn't have said it, but I understand. He didn't take that route, and he could have.
No, because he wanted to one you up.
The inmate, too, could have been more understanding.
You told me he's a social justice warrior right there. I have
No, not that guy. Not that guy.
Which guy? The military guy?
Thunderbeak.
Thunderbeak, okay.
Which is what I called my boss because of his giant proboscis and Forrest Gump haircut.
Well, everything that I have heard about him, having never met him, wouldn't surprise me.
Right. So now, think about if that happened to an officer. If somebody spit on him and then he punched a guy. He probably shouldn't have punched a guy, but the guy deserved to get punched.
Yeah, if I spit on a cup, I expect to be punched.
So if a guy tells a cop, I know where you live, and I'm going to come kill your kids, odds are he doesn't, and you don't need to fly off the handle, but if he got your kids involved, I'm not going to hold it against you if you cuff them extra tight.
Yeah.
And here's the point, finally, after 12 minutes. You should take it easy on the cops and not feel like, why do the police treat us like shit? Because the police hate you too, and you deserve it. For holding them to these impossible fucking standards, for treating them like they're pieces of shit, like they're not human beings. They can't have a sense of humor. They can't make an off-color joke. Look at the fucking shit that went down with those two cops in the 4th precinct with the racist Christmas tree. And Chief Arredondo was like, oh, we will hold them accountable.
Whatever.
They put, a fucking
joke.
Well, it was a joke that was, by today's standards, in poor taste, but it was also, if you look at it from a more relaxed, humorous point of view, all those things are representative of that community. There's a fucking music video of a couple little black kids, and the song's called Hot Cheetos and Takis. And guess what they had on the Christmas tree? A fucking bag from some Takis. And they had some malt liquor stuff. They just, the usual stuff. Fucking cheap cigarettes. All stuff you would associate with the ghetto. Even if it's two black officers making that joke, I don't think anybody needs to fly off the handle and demand their jobs.
Yeah, that chief should have been like, okay, no, just take the tree down and be done with it.
Right, but by today's standards, it's not enough outrage. There needs to be an inequitable amount of punishment for the crime.
What crime?
Well, it was a crime of insensitivity.
That's not a crime. That's just somebody with a personality that differs from yours.
Right, and what people don't understand, and I've had to say this to an investigator before while being questioned about jokes I've made on the job. I'm like, well, this is corrections. We all have a dark sense of humor. It's how we get by. Yeah, and then that same phrase was used against me in a summarization of the investigation by my boss. You said that officers have dark senses of humor. I'm pretty sure that guy's fucking autistic. All right, because he clearly does not understand many of the social cues of conversation.
At that point, when you told him he didn't know how to do his job, yeah, he's going to do whatever he can to get rid of you. He can't, and that's part of the problem. As much as I didn't want to see anyone fired, they set up the rules in a way where you can't just fire somebody. Well, I don't like his attitude, I'm just going to fire him. Okay, I'll find someone else. No, they set up all these hoops to make it impossible to get rid of somebody they disagree with. And on the other hand, that's good because it kept you there longer and it gave you an opportunity to fight.
I didn't really have problems until I turned in a direct supervisor for sexual harassment. That was when the beginning of my downfall began. That was when my downfall began. So, and it took 4 years approximately for them to finally get me to the point where I asked them, buy me out. Because as I've said in the past, they offered to buy me out months prior, but 9 days prior to my wedding when I was on paternity leave. Insensitive dicks.
Yeah.
But back to the cop thing now, because, there's parallels to be drawn between officers behind bars and officers on the street. Mm-hmm. We're treated with the same level of disdain. Just, it's higher stakes for some of us.
Yeah.
And the ones on the streets are the ones I'm talking about. So now you treat them this way, like they're not human, like they're monsters. How are they going to develop? What are they going to think? How are they going to act? They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be antisocial. They're going to be anti-public. They're going to be extra disciplinarian. It's going to jade them. You get the police that you deserve, judging by how much leeway you give them. And I'm not saying every time a cop shoots somebody, we should be like, well, hang on. He's a cop. Obviously, there is a good reason why. I'm not saying we shouldn't investigate those.
Yeah, in a due process.
But if every time a cop is an asshole and you levy a complaint against them, well, how can they not be an asshole? If you tell somebody that they're bad at their job and that they're a poor employee long enough, they stop caring. I'm pointing my thumb back at myself. That's what happened to me at my previous employer. I wasn't being a bad employee. I just had a very dark and colorful sense of humor. My boss once told me that he knows I have a quick wit and a sharp tongue. At the time, I thanked him, but he was really wrapping an insult and a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you work third shift and your boss wants to scold you after an 8-hour night of being awake all night. So you get the cops, and they're assholes because you tell them they're assholes. What do you expect?
They're going to be assholes.
And yeah, I told my boss I didn't agree with how he did his job. Of course he's going to dislike me. He should have taken it because I would always offer it with, I'm not trying to insult you. This is constructive criticism. I want to give you some food for thought. Here's how I want you to look at the way we're doing things and how I think we could do it differently. I didn't just come at him like, you're a fucking idiot. Because my dad had a guy like that under him at his old job before he retired. Mm-hmm. And that guy was a fucking nightmare. And my dad finally just went, okay, you know what? Here, tell me what you think I should do differently. Let me know. And the guy really couldn't come at him with anything on the spot. Right, because the guy was just an asshole. I've
known several people that act like that. Oh, I could run this place better than them. I could do this. Like, then why don't you apply for that position?
Well, with my former boss, it was because he showed poor judgment. He was too lenient on the inmates. He showed favoritism. I mean fucking obvious favoritism. There was bias all the time. His favorite people could get away with anything. But me? Oh no, I was a problem child. Even though I busted my fucking hump and took my job more seriously than like 80% of the people that worked there. That's what got me so hot all the time, is that I'd take it too fucking seriously because I thought shit mattered.
Well, it does, just not to the people that need to make it matter.
Right, so with cops, if you're going to hate on them, don't sit there and be like, how dare you be an asshole to me? Well, they're salty because you treat them like shit. And like I said, the cops hate you too, and you deserve it. So think about how you treat your law enforcement officers. When you talk to them, if they make a joke and you don't like it, let it go. I'm not saying if a white cop walks up to a bunch of black kids and utters a racial epithet that you should be like, well, shake it off. He's probably having a bad day. It's not what I'm getting at here. Mm-hmm. All right? Yeah. And not every cop goes into a shift looking to kill somebody. So that's why they're also goddamn scared to use lethal force when it's justified, because they know that they're going to be just lambasted in the media with their face plastered across fucking CNN and MSNBC and all the other Fox News outlets and all that shit as a fucking murderer, especially if they don't fucking deserve it.
Yeah.
No wonder these people are wound so tight.
Mm-hmm.
Our police are a product of the way the public treat them, and we really need to lighten up.
Yeah, it's just, you're going to get treated how you treat them. They're a product of the environment.
So stop crying about the way the cops are rude to you, and maybe ask them. I know it sounds bizarre. Ask them, like, are you mad at me or are you mad at the situation? Or say, okay, I wholeheartedly use this exact phrase. I'm not in love with your tone right now, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Perhaps you're angry at something else. Can we take a few seconds? Just take a breath, because I feel like you're coming at me in a way that I don't deserve, and I definitely didn't call you to have this kind of exchange. Let's try to make it a happier exchange here.
I think the thing I could see myself saying if I ended up in a situation like that is, what can I do, sir, to make this easier for both of us?
Perhaps.
Because if he's coming on with an attitude and all that, I'm not doing something right. Or, yeah, maybe he's having a bad day. So, sir, How can I make this better for both of us? And I'm not saying let me go. Just okay. What do you need me to do? I will follow commands if that's what you're really looking for. Granted, I'm already going to be following commands, but because I don't want a gun drawn on me.
Right. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
And that's the end.